reveal the things that are wrong. What is it that he is not revealing? Are there things to be revealed? And if there are things to be revealed, what are those things which will be revealed? I'm really frightened. What Mr. Matanamudi is telling us is that beyond the things he has put in the risk assessment report on Ijapa, beyond all the things that he has written in the exchanges with the Flagstaff House, there are some things that we don't know. And that those things are dirty. What are those things? I'm worried. I'm exceedingly worried. Now, the statement he issued after his interview with City FM, he actually states that if he is provoked, we shall reveal our dirty linen. Dirty linen. What is it that has stained the linen? What is it? I mean, these are the things that worry me. These are the things that frighten me. What is it that has stained the linen, made the linen dirty, that we are not being told that citizen vigilante is helping to cover? Frightening, isn't it? Then he claims, he says, that the finance minister visited him in his house, obviously to discuss the report he was about to issue or had issued. Okay? Now that in itself, if it is true, is a big matter. The finance minister's conduct is under investigation. He does not visit the special prosecutor in his office. He does not engage lawyers to defend him. He goes to see him in the privacy of his house. What is happening? And the special prosecutor, styled citizen vigilante, says that I won't tell you what he came to do in my house. I will only tell you what he came to do in my house, which is dirty, only if they continue insulting me. Are you not worried? Are you not worried? I am very, very worried about this development. Then we are told that it is the rules of natural justice. You know, if you follow the rules of natural justice, then we have to accept the minister's response to the special prosecutor's report and incorporate it in the report. What nonsense! What nonsense! Absolute trash! And yet, some people can look us in the face and tell us this. What the rule of natural justice simply says is that everybody must be given equal opportunity to defend themselves. And that you do not pass judgment without listening to all the sides in the case. Read the Special Office of Special Prosecutor's report on the Ijapa deal. All the documents he used came from the finance ministry and came from parliament. He explains in detail what he was told by the Minister of Finance and so on. Why are you going to apply the rule of natural justice now? In any case, if the views of the finance minister need to be incorporated in the report, was the president acting as the lawyer to the finance minister? How do you do it? The president calls the special prosecutor to his house on a Sunday and hands him the report to go and incorporate in a report which has already been submitted. Maybe, what kind of Nancy story is this? Stop saying that. If you say that, you insult us. You insult the people of Ghana. Clearly, what was intended was to water down the report. The report had already been finished and submitted. Indeed, if the finance minister had any misgivings about the report, if he had anything to challenge in the report and so on, he had every right as a citizen of Ghana to go to court, to get the court to set aside the decisions of the special prosecutor and so on. Now, there's something else which is important to state. The finance minister has not been convicted for any crime. Nobody mentioned in the special risk assessment report of the special prosecutor has been convicted. Indeed, the special prosecutor's own report states that that report is not based on a criminal investigation. He says that very clearly. Okay? Indeed, the office of the special prosecutor is not a court. It doesn't convict people. It doesn't establish the guilt or innocence of persons it investigates. You understand what I'm saying? So, what the office of special prosecutor does is simply to go into matters that have come to its attention and make a determination whether or not, based on the facts and so on, a prima facie case has been made for prosecution. That's all the special prosecutor does. So this is not a case where the office of the special prosecutor is convicting anybody. Nobody has been convicted. Nobody is suffering criminal sanctions for corruption or anything. The special prosecutor has done a risk assessment, corruption risk assessment of a transaction or a deal that the government was about to enter into, and has come to the conclusion that there were elements in that deal suggesting corruption. That's all. And those elements included bid rigging and so on. You understand? That's all that has happened. So all this nonsense about rules of natural justice and so on, where are they coming from? Where are they coming from? There's something else which is exceedingly interesting. Here is the special prosecutor telling us that he submitted his findings, his report, to the presidency. He was asked to hold on for a week, and he tells us that he reluctantly agreed to hold on for a week. The operative word there is reluctant. What made him so reluctant? If indeed asking him to wait for a week was lawful, was normal, there was nothing wrong with it, why was he reluctant to hold on for a week? Clearly, the special prosecutor knew that he was doing something which was unethical. He knew that there was a problem. That is why he says that he reluctantly agreed to hold on for a week. Okay? And I am worried. Now, I'm again also worried about something. I paid particular attention to the vetting of the special prosecutor when he was appointed, the vetting in Parliament. And he was so emphatic that he would stand his ground, that nothing will stop him from carrying out his duties, and that his loyalty was to the 1992 Constitution and so on. But now the special prosecutor tells us that he has resigned. And he has resigned because an attempt has been made to interfere with his work. Should he have resigned? If the special prosecutor was standing his ground, if the special prosecutor was doing as he promised in Parliament, resignation ought not to have been the option. He should have stood his ground and fought to the very end. If an attempt is made to interfere with your work, do you run away? Do you resign? He should have stood his ground and fought his way and prosecuted people that he thought were worthy of prosecution. Instead of doing that, he simply handed over. He simply abandoned his position. Are you not worried about that? The only way we can establish some decent order in this society, the only way state institutions can carry out their functions as prescribed by the Constitution and by law, is to have public officers who stand their ground, not public officers who run away at the least provocation. And that is why I fully agree with Occupy Ghana. Occupy Ghana has issued a statement stating that they are disappointed by the resignation of the special prosecutor because they believe that he should have stood his grounds. And I fully agree with them. And Occupy Ghana is not an extension of the Convention People's Party. It is not an extension of the MDC. Indeed, Occupy Ghana is one of the groups which hailed the appointment of Mr. Martin Amidu. Now, I've read that one of the responses from the office of the president, and indeed bear in mind that there were 3 responses from the office of the president. 3. And I've read one of those responses. And one of those responses simply calls Mr. Martin Amidu a liar. Somebody who does not respect the facts. And so on. Is it possible to have a person of integrity who is a liar? How do you match both? A liar and a person of integrity at the same time? I wonder. I have known Mr. Martin Amidu over a long period of time. He's human like all of us. He has his faults like all of us, and so on. One thing I've not known about him is a capacity to lie. And indeed, when I found the presidency accusing him of lying, I was shocked. In any case, if the presidency can come to the conclusion that the person they made special prosecutor is a liar, special prosecutor, somebody going to prosecute people for corruption and so on is a liar, then he was not qualified to hold that position. You understand? Now, so many issues have come up. One, there is this whole argument about whether or not he was given adequate resources to operate or not. And Mr. Martin Amidu says that, yes, he was asked to carry out recruitments into his outfit. Indeed, he was going to recruit more than 200 people. And that 200 people could not be working from a 3-bedroom house. And that he needed to be given accommodation and so on. The presidency comes and says, oh, we gave him accommodation. We actually gave him the Get Fund building. Is it 10-story Get Fund building and so on. Now, Mr. Martin Amidu explains that given the nature of his work, he could not share the premises with other agencies and so on. And who disagrees with that? Given the nature of his work, he was going to be receiving informants and all of that. Could he share premises with other institutions? Certainly not. In not the same way that you will not allow the Bureau of National Investigations or the CID or whatever to be sharing premises with other institutions. So he was right. Then we are told that actually they sent the keys of the Get Fund building to Mr. Martin Amidu. And my brother, I have been completely shocked by the disclosures. They put the keys, the front keys to the building, not all the keys, so the front keys, the keys to the front doors of the building in an envelope, gave it to a dispatch rider to deliver to Mr. Martin Amidu. Is that how you hand over state property? Is that how you hand over state property? Put the front keys of the building in an envelope and send by dispatch to Mr. Martin Amidu. No inventory, no nothing. Keys in an envelope.
What key?
Is this how we are running Ghana? Is this how we are taking care of state assets? You are handing over a 10-story building to an institution, and all you do is that you put the keys to the front door in an envelope, send it by dispatch rider to the Office of Special Prosecutor. That in itself is a huge scandal. Scandal of monumental proportions. That's how we're managing state assets. I'm ashamed. In 2020, that's how we manage state assets. Are you not ashamed? I am horrified. And then Mr. Martin Amidu comes and says, oh, since he got his job, he has not been paid. And then the office of the president comes and says, but we gave you 60 million, you should have taken some. Is that how we pay salaries in Ghana?
What that have you made Martin Amidu look like?
Mother, is that how you pay salaries in Ghana? Fortunately for us on this program, we have a former deputy minister of finance sitting here. Monies meant for capital expenditure can never under any circumstance be used to pay personal emoluments. Indeed, the laws of Ghana, there's a certain crime in the laws of Ghana described as misapplication of funds. Capital expenditure and recurrent expenditure, you don't mix them. The presidency does not know this. He said, just take some. If you don't pay you, just take some of the money.
Clueless government.
Hey, I am ashamed.
Yes, sir.
I am completely ashamed. Take some. My goodness. Is this where we have reached? We have not been paid. We have sent you some money. So just take some.
Stop complaining.
My goodness. Is this the level where we have reached? I'm worried. Then we are told that the Office of Special Prosecutor was giving some monies. Okay? Are you listening? But at the end of the year, the monies had not been spent. And those monies are kept in the accounts of the Special Prosecutor, and more is added. Is that how you run the finances of a country? All my life I have known that if monies are allocated to you as a state institution and you don't use it, at the end of the year it goes back to the consolidated fund. It goes back to the consolidated fund. But the presidency is telling us that in this particular case, they said keep the money, don't worry. We will add more, and they added more. And if you do the arithmetics, it doesn't add up. 60 million was left in the account, they added more, nothing was spent, and the balance was still 60 million. Somebody described this as voodoo mathematics. I think it's worse than voodoo mathematics. Hey, the people who are running this country, their mathematics teachers must have been horrible. I'm sure that their mathematics teachers are now crying because of this embarrassment. This is not even mathematics, this is arithmetic. They have been so embarrassed. They can't add and subtract. Even when it comes to adding and subtraction, there's a huge problem. They can't do it. And if you can't do simple addition and subtraction, how can you run a whole country? Abba! Running a whole country, you can't do addition and subtraction. What is this? So you continue reading the report and the reaction to it, and every page you open, poto. Every page you open, basa. You understand? This report has given us an indication of how Ghana is being run. And anybody who reads this report must be seriously worried about what is happening. Exceedingly worried about what is happening. We are running this country like an apampem store. Even those who run apampem stores, they get their arithmetic right. So even apampem stores are being run better than the way we are running this country. And I am deeply, deeply worried by the things that are getting revealed, you know, in all of this. My brother, those who are saying that this deal should go back to Parliament, for what? The reaction from the President, the first reaction, in fact there have been 4 reactions from the office of the President, said that, oh, the deal should go back to Parliament. Parliament should be given ample time to scrutinize the deal. And that is in relation to the fact that Parliament was given only 4 hours to scrutinize the deal. And you have a deal like this and you give Parliament 4 hours to scrutinize it. And you think you've done a great job. So let it go back to Parliament. Give Parliament more time to scrutinize it. But in any case, hold on. Don't take it to Parliament now. Because we are about to have an election. And if we take it to Parliament, it would influence the campaign for the election. It may influence the outcome. So let's wait. After the elections, we will take it to Parliament. Master, is it not clear? Everything is about election. Everything is about who wins election. No principle. Nobody is standing up to do what is right and what is wrong. Let us wait. After elections, if we win or when we win, then we can take it back to Parliament. And if indeed we have the majority, then we will pass it again. So those of us who are going to vote on December 7, 2020, let us be conscious of the fact that our votes would have consequences. One of the consequences will be whether or not the Japan deal will be sent back to Parliament or not. When you are voting, don't forget that one of the consequences of your vote will be whether or not the Japan deal will go back to Parliament. And indeed, if you vote for the Japan deal to go back to Parliament, you should know that the Japan will become a reality of our life, in spite of everything that has been said about the Japan deal. Now, you see, when things happen like this, some people begin to look like prophets. And one of the people who is beginning to look like a prophet is ALHAJI Inusa Fuseni. I remember that as soon as Mr. Martin Amidu was appointed as special prosecutor, ALHAJI Inusa Fuseni came out and said, this man is going to resign very soon. You remember? He made a prediction that Mr. Martin Amidu will resign. Another person who made a prediction that Mr. Martin Amidu will resign in no time is my good friend John Ndebugri. John Nombo said that Mr. Martin Amidu will resign in no time. What did they see that the rest of us didn't see? And true, he has come to resign. I can now see why they could be so courageous to make those predictions. This whole office of special prosecutor has been a grand deception of the Ghanaian people. The creation of the office was a grand deception of the Ghanaian people. If you look at Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution, Article 88 vests the power to prosecute in the Attorney General. That article has not been changed. The Constitution has not been amended. It has not been amended at all. Okay? So still, the power to prosecute is vested in the Attorney General. What Parliament did was to create a law which enables the Attorney General to cede part of her powers to the Office of Special Prosecutor. What is new about that? Today, or before the Office of Special Prosecutor was created, Yoko could prosecute. So part of the powers of the Attorney General had been ceded to Yoko. You understand? The police service could prosecute. There were several institutions in this country which could prosecute. And it's within that same ambit that the Office of Special Prosecutor was created. Now, when the Office of Special Prosecutor was being created, we were told that the president of the New Patriotic Party administration did not want a situation where the work of the Special Prosecutor could be interpreted as political witch hunting because of the linkage with the presidency. Alright? Now the office has been created, somebody has been appointed, and indeed his report is discussed with the president, and the president tells him what to include and what not to include. Would it not have been better if the Attorney General was carrying out these prosecutions? Now the president can call him and say, go and put this one in your report. Where is the independence of the Special Prosecutor? In any case, my brother, let's be fair. I like to be fair. If you follow the professional legal advice given by the Attorney General on a number of issues since this government came into force, I have tried to follow it. And I'm very impressed with the performance of this Attorney General. Exceedingly impressed. The married deal. Did you see the opinion she wrote? Did you see it? A Jaffa deal. Her first opinion was that this deal is unquestionable. You understand? When the office of the Special Prosecutor was proposed by the New Patriotic Party, Philip Addison, who was the president's own lawyer, working from the president's chambers, told us that this is a farce. That you don't need the office of Special Prosecutor to be able to prosecute corruption. What you need are persons of integrity in charge of the office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. That's what he told us. Has Philip Addison not been vindicated today? Philip Addison has been vindicated today. All the fuss about the office of the Special Prosecutor has collapsed in our faces. In any case, today, every and any MPP communicator is taking pot shots at Mr. Martin Amidu. They are insulting him, they are maligning him, they are lying about him, and indeed Mr. Martin Amidu claims that they have been traced to kill him and to burn down his house. I ask a very simple question. What is Mr. Martin Amidu doing today that is different from what he did in 2013, 14, 15, and 16, for which you gave him the name Citizen Vigilante? What Mr. Matinamidu is doing today is exactly what he was doing to your applause. And if he's doing the same thing, why did you applaud him that time and why do you verify him this time? Something is wrong. And what is wrong is not Mr. Matinamidu. What is wrong is the cheerleaders in his corner, or who were in his corner in 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2016. Because he has not changed. Mr. Matinamidu has not changed. The very things he did when Professor Mills was in power are the same things he's doing today. The very things he did when John Mahama was in power are the same things he's doing today. So why is he being vilified today? Those who applauded him then must applaud him today too. You understand? Final comment. And it's a very small comment. And it's a comment, it's an advice which I want to give to my brother and friend, Mr. Protocol. Mr. Protocol, you know something?
I'm with you.
Thank you very much. You know, things at a certain point of determination, they are closed. You make reference to Manasseh Azuri's allegations against the former president, and I believe it's in respect of the Ford vehicle.
Yes.
This is a matter which went before the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice. The commission came out with its finding, which has not been challenged by anybody to date. I think you should be careful in referring to that as an act of corruption by the former president. Because the commission has determined that matter. The commission came to the conclusion that there was no corruption in it. So why do you refer to it? My impression is that you are shopping for things that do not exist in order to engage in a game of equalization. And it's not helping your case very much because it's making you look to something. You understand? If that case had not been determined, or even had been determined against President Mahama, you'll be entitled to use it against him. Why? President Mahama is a human being like anybody. If Ghanaians are entitled to criticize President Akufo-Addo, they are entitled to criticize President Mahama. But when matters have been investigated and determined, please don't do what you are doing. My brother, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Pratt. That should be to a close our very first discussion on the Japan royalties. I'm not saying that I would not. It depends on the panel to decide to make any quick points they want to make in our second discussion, by the way. But we do not have the luxury of time to. I'll read a couple of messages, then we'll move on to the issue of the discussion of the demonstration that will come off in the U.S. That's against the Electoral Commission. The very first message I'm reading is from Koshi Badon in Denu Junction. Says, I don't get this risk assessment report by the OSP. How can the OSP, which is supposed to be an independent institution, conduct a risk assessment on an executive policy? How do you accuse the president of interference if you conduct an advisory report on his policy? Again, of what use is the risk assessment report post-parliamentary approval of the contract, because government cannot alter what is approved by parliament. This OSP is another showmanship inspired waste of our money. And he continued to say there may be some misrepresentation here. National budget is an aggregation of institutional budget. So if the OSP presents a budget including emoluments and was approved, the response of the government may be right. That is his opinion. Musa Batwa in Kumasi says, Sena, the fight against corruption has totally been lost. Now it has been confirmed that there was an attempt by Akufo-Addo to interfere in a Japan Royalty Limited transaction anti-corruption assessment. In any case, Matinamidu has also made a damning revelation that Kenneth Oyata, who is the center of a Japan scam, visited him in his house on 21st October 2020 to influence him, but he declined. Corruption fight has turned vice versa. Now, if you're fighting corruption, it means you're fighting Akufo-Addo and his family and friends. Let me see some. Okay, had the impede from against us. Sena, when citizens of a country like the MP man, okay, in your studio hypocritical. The Nanando Bawumia government will surely take Ghanaians for fools and ride them like donkeys. Allah save Mother Ghana from the hands of pen robbers. You say, Idi Gideon, okay, that's quite a long one. Dennis Akwete is okay. I think there's a lot that's directed at me. Maxwell Akpabli, I also is a Sena. This okay. Really did well. MPP Ghana studio really did well by saying a lot, but he ended up saying nothing but empty rhetorics. When he sues them, he says Manasseh Azuri indicts President Mahama in his work he did prior to the 2016 elections. But when he doesn't sue them, he says Martin Amidu's work on Ijapa isn't factual. I mean, what kind of double standard is this? You should not take with viewers for fools. We can read between the lines. So let's move on to the discussion on the Electoral Commission. And I start this time with Jifa on the issue of the demonstration that will happen in the US. Jifa.
Yeah, Sena, I was caught off guard because I thought I was going to be second, but that's fine. So there is a group, let me just check their name again, in the US. They are called...
they are concerned Ghanaians in the US.
Concerned, yes.
Ghanaians in the US.
Yes, concerned Ghanaians in the US. That's quite plain and simple. And it's actually headed by two, for lack of a better word, and in a very positive way, notorious citizens. I'm saying notorious because they have been so notorious to the NPP government, which they deserve, of course. And their head, or should I say the chairman of this group, is actually the former NPP chairman in one of the states in the US. So this is not far from it. NDC has no hand in this demonstration. But if I quite get it right, the whole demonstration is to get the ears and the eyes of international communities to be able to observe and take part in our elections in a way of observing. Because apparently, since day one, ever since Madam Charlotte was saying, was strangely thrown out of her position because of some so-called procurement issues that have been the center stage for all the corruption activities or corruption scandals in the NPP government. They went to fabricate something, clearly, put this woman aside and brought Madam Jean Mensah to take her place. And you'd be thinking that it's supposed to be for the good of Ghana. But since day one, every activity that came through, we've realized that there is very little transparency. There is an obvious plot to have this election not be free, fair, and transparent as it's supposed to be. And luckily, it is not just the NDC who has realized it. Now, people within Ghana and even Ghanaians outside of Ghana have realized it. And as it stands now, that the NPP has been drenched with corruption filth, their only resort may be to rig the elections. Oh yeah, their only resort may be to rig the elections, and that is where we need vigilance. Vigilance not just from the people of Ghana, but from international communities too. So that is what the whole demonstration is about, and it's happening at the Capitol Hill Hotel in Washington, D.C. When I think about what we just spoke about, I mean, where the president of Ghana can send his his chief of staff to work out a meeting with Martin Amidu, and even the president going forward to invite Martin Amidu, the special prosecutor, to his home, or should I say yes, to his home on a Sunday, which is a weekday, to try to manipulate this man, to try to stand in his way from prosecuting a case such as Ijapa. I am just wondering, this is a Martin Amidu who was in NDC, or who is an NDC member, and a citizen vigilante, of course. I am just wondering what may have happened between the president and the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Madam Jean Mensah. I am just wondering, and I'm leaving this all out to Ghanaians. This is somebody who was appointed by the president, somebody who is noted for being associated with the NPP way before she was appointed, and there are several pictures and other evidence to show that this is very true. I am wondering what has gone on. the way we stood on our grounds to go in for a mass registration at a time when the whole world had been hit by a pandemic, because after all, the registration was more important than the lives of Ghanaians. As we stand now, if Akufo-Addo had his own way, he would have said, because of the second wave of the pandemic, probably let's hold on to elections so that he would be able to, buy more time to sort out his issues. But because he forced his way, together with the EC, to go through this mass registration, how is he come to tell Ghanaians that the second wave is important? In fact, per sources, things are being shielded. The records of new cases are being shielded because we have to go through these elections. So I am not surprised that this group of people are going on this demonstration. I support it 100%. Apparently there is a letter going to be handed to the UN, the EU, the AU, and a number of very prominent international communities, and I'm really urging and hoping that on that day, 7th December, every one of them should come with their representatives, come and observe with very keen eyes, because people will try to do certain things. And we are bent, together with all concerned Ghanaians, not just those who live in the US, that we are not going to let this happen. And I also want to use this medium to encourage everyone that we know the NPP have all the vigilantes, the top award-winning vigilantes in Ghana, those who are able to storm a whole court and render judges as nobodies. All of them are very proud to be NPP people, and they are here waiting for the final day. If you are threatened by anything, stand on your grounds, vote, go back home. The politicians and the political activists will stand and protect the ballots. Let nothing scare you. Make your vote more powerful than all these threats that we are projecting are going to be coming from the side of the sitting government. So I think I support what they are doing, and we are behind them, even though we are not the ones doing, but we are behind them. Yeah. Thank you,
Jafar. I'll come to you, Mr. Protocol, shortly. I do like that name. Well, this one says Enoch Jetiate lives in New York. He says that I think you said hotel. For a moment there, I have been struggling with what it is, but he said Capitol Hill is the U.S. Congress.
Oh, I said hotel then.
Yeah, the U.S. Congress Arena. The U.S. Congress Arena. He said so. That's where the demonstration will end.
Yeah, but it's Capitol Hill, right?
Yes, Capitol Hill. Yeah. This one says, "Good morning, Sena. Martin Amido has done nothing by resigning. Rather blame this government's play taxes. Martin shouldn't have accepted the appointment in the first place." Mr. Protocol.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think a number of false impressions has been created in this platform.
And I'm hoping you'll be very brief.
I would be brief. I would be brief. Yeah. I think that it is important to cure the mischief before people try to believe whatever has been peddled here. I think, and it reminds me of the kind of propaganda position that I have learned or have read in this particular literature called Animal Farm, where one character by name Squilla, who was supposed to be the spokesperson for that particular distance. I mean, at the end of the day, Squilla actually led his people into the dungeons, and that particular so-called things that they actually envisaged to benefit from the fruits of their labor didn't happen. I have seen it clearly demonstrated here. I trust that it's about time we should try to call the spade and not a big spoon. Indeed, I cited Malasi Azuri's report, or if you like, investigative piece that he did with the Ford expedition scandal, where the sitting president was cited. And my uncle Kusi Pratt wanted to give me an admonition. Okay. Of course, I'm a student of history. I like to learn. He is one of the persons that I actually admire so much and want, as it were, to be able to benefit from his fountain of knowledge. I think with the greatest of respect, there are certain things that was actually said here that I am not very much enthused with. with your permission, I want to make reference to the rebuttals that came from the from the Jubilee House, because so many impressions has been created. Now, if you go and look at paragraph 4 of the response, and with your permission, let me read, so that it will kill a party to lie.
Yeah.
So it means that he is vouching for Martin Amidu every day.
It means that he doesn't
Now,
seem to be alive.
so now this was a person who once upon a time said that the current what is it called, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, who as at that time when he was the vice president was a subject of investigation because of the procurement of the aircraft. This was Martin Amidu who came and said that. So it means that, to go by what Uncle Kwesi Pratt is saying, we should take this particular issue serious, because it ends incidentally. That particular issue raised its ugly head as we speak now. I'm talking about what is it called, the scandals that has greeted this particular aircraft issue, and I mean it is a well-known knowledge that everybody knows. So with your permission, I would go and read paragraph 4. Please listen. And your accusation of interference with your functions simply on account of the meeting the president held with you is perplexing. In exercise of what you consider to be your power under Act 959, you had voluntarily proceeded to produce the Ejapa report. The president had no hand in your work. Without prompting from any quarters within the executive, you delivered a letter purporting to be a copy of your report to the president. The purpose of presenting a copy of the Ejapa report to the president is decipherable from paragraph 32 of your letter to the president, in which you indicate that you hoped the report will be used to improve current and future legislative and executive actions to make corruption and corruption-related offences very hard